Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos. But before we jump into that, if you enjoyed the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so it is official. We finally got word we're going to get the fight between George Kambosos and Devin Haney on June 4th. Man, there was a lot of back and forth going on this one. There was a lot of debate about who was going to get the fight. And I got to be honest with you, I really wanted to see Kambosos versus Lomachenko. Right? Because, well, back it up, I wanted to see Lomachenko get the rematch against Lopez. I mean, he was a great champion. He had done just phenomenal work. You had seen the performances he put in. Goes out there, legitimately loses the fight against Teofimo Lopez. I just wanted to see a rematch. Right, but then, you know, we saw everything that we saw out of Teofimo's camp and who he was going to take, who he was going to fight. He ends up losing the belts. So then I wanted to see Loma, you know, get another chance at his belts, get in the fight with Kambosos. And it looked for a while like that's the way it was going to develop. Obviously, we see what we saw what happened with that and what he's doing, something that's far more important to him, which is why he stepped away from the fight. But we don't get a bum. We don't get a fill-in and just a placeholder. Man, we're getting Kambosos versus Haney. And Haney is, he's as legit as they come. Young fighter, 23 years old. So, man, this is going to be awesome. Really, really looking forward to this fight. So, on the one hand, talk a little bit about Devin Haney. Okay, now when I think of this guy, I just think of a consummate boxer, right? He is just out there. He's very technically proficient, really detail-oriented in what he does, strong with the fundamentals, very fast hands, very fast feet, very good footwork, knows how to lead and can counter, knows how to, as he's stepping up a little bit more, I like the way that he's really developing his counters. He's starting to get that little half step back. He can go guys into a little bit, bait them in, set a little bit of a trap, then get that little half step back and counter them. Beautiful jab. Beautiful jab. Honestly, when you really break it down, it's probably one of the best jabs out there. It's just like a spear, the way he's constantly got it shooting at guys, the way he uses it to lead. He can hit it with singles. He can double up with it. Completely controls the distance with the jab. Can be the ring general. Take the center of the ring. He can back up with it and box off the back foot. He can counter with the jab when guys try to reach in. You know, he's tall and long for the division. Guys try to cover that extra step and a half to get inside on him. He takes that little half step back and then counters with the jab. Uses it really versatily. Uses it to set up his combinations and that right hand and that left hook. All just stuff that you expect to see from a guy that you would consider a classic boxer. And that's what we get out of Devin Haney. Okay? But, gotta throw that button there, right? But, there's times that he can be dragged a little bit out of his style, in my opinion. There's times that he can be goaded into a little bit of a fight, right? The easiest example would be the last fight that we saw with Jojo Diaz, right? Jojo Diaz doesn't want to fight from the outside the way Devin Haney did. He wanted to put his guard up. He wanted to come forward. He wanted to drag Devin Haney into a little bit more of a fight than a boxing match. He was able to do that at times, and he was able to land big shots. I want to say it was like the 4th round, 7th round, maybe 11th and 12th. He was able to get off with some shots, man. There were some times when he hit him with overhand lefts. There were some times when he hit Devin Haney with right hooks. Looked like he buzzed him. Looked like he had him hurt a little bit at times. We all remember what Jorge Linares did. Caught him with that nasty right hand. Man, he had dude looking like he had too much to drink after that punch, walking back to his corner. He was on chicken legs off of that shot. Imagine if that would have happened with like 2 minutes left in the round. Linares has got very fast hands, very good punch placement. Man, he could have easily got dude in trouble. He could have easily dropped Haney. Who knows what would have happened then? And look, I'm not trying to read into it too much. We've all seen throughout fighters' careers times where they get close calls. We've all seen times where they got buzzed and they got to come back from it, right? Even the great Floyd Mayweather. I remember when he got rocked by 2 shots from Shane Mosley with like a minute and a half left in the round. Dude, it happens. He found a way to persevere. Actually, by the end of the round, he was back in control of it and everything, right? But that's what you have to see from guys. That's part of the progression. Nobody's going to make it through without getting caught with some shots. Nobody's going to make it through without being put in some bad positions. It's all about what's going to happen. What are you going to do when that happens? Because we all know that time's coming. So far, we've seen Haney able to persevere, right? But he's really stepped his competition up in his last 3 fights. Gamboa, Linares, and Jojo Diaz. And Gamboa, it was a step up, and he was a name and everything. But if we're being perfectly honest with each other, the man was far past his prime, right? Really a shell of his former self. But Haney went out there and did exactly what he was supposed to do. Then he goes out there, Linares boxes beautifully for the most part. Like I said, all the things he's able to do with jab, the way he's able to lead, the way he's able to get away from the counters of Linares. And make no mistake, that's not easy. Jorge Linares, very high boxing IQ, beautiful boxing technique, very fast hands, good combinations. He was able to get away from a lot of those counters from Linares. Great stuff. Goes out there against a younger guy like a younger fighter like Jojo Diaz. Again, able to get the win. Gets dragged into some bad spots, gets hit with some shots, able to find a way to pull it out. It's what you like to see from young guys, man. Devin Haney's only 23 years old, and he's already putting this together. Now he's going to step up and fight Kambosos. All great stuff, okay? Now, George Kambosos, man, going into the fight with Teofimo Lopez, I had him as a big underdog. I picked Lopez to win. I'm certainly not alone in that, right? That's how a lot of people saw that one going. But he came out in that fight, and he showed me something else, man. He showed me a completely different gear. A completely different wrinkle to his game that I was not expecting. He went out there and he fought off the back foot incredibly well. He showed me that, to be perfectly honest, he showed me that his most valuable asset, the thing that he brings to the table that really is going to help him get to where he needs to get if he's going to make it, is his timing. When Teofimo Lopez came out on fire in that first round and tried to get that knockout, dude, Kambosos remained patient, tried to pick up the rhythm and the timing, started to land counter left hooks. Remained patient, started to pick up the rhythm and timing, started to land his overhand right. Lopez thought he was going to come out there and blast him out of the water. He thought he was going to come out there and land a few hard shots, completely throw dude off his game. He's younger, or he's inexperienced at this high level. He's not ready for it. He doesn't have the skill level that I have. I'm going to come out there. I'm just going to turn up the heat all the way, crank that volume up. Kambosos is going to be out of there. And that wasn't the case at all. Man, Kambosos answered the call. He came out there and showed that he's got championship material, championship metal. The way he was able to stay calm under pressure, the way he was able to get that timing, that was great stuff. That was great stuff. And the right hand that he dropped him with, that was just kind of the culmination of that. And then we saw that progress more and more. He was able to, then he started to work a little bit behind the jab, and he'd come forward at times, but still box off the back foot because Lopez is so aggressive. So that's really what was there. And those were all things that I didn't think that he would be able to do going into that fight. Those were all things that he, in my opinion, he hadn't really showed, and absolutely had not shown at that level, right? That was the main thing that we saw against Kambosos as far as a knock against him, was his level of competition. It just wasn't there. And then he was stepping in against a guy who just beat Lomachenko. So it was easy to see why he was just this nasty underdog, like, 13-1, 14-1, whatever it was. So it was easy to understand all of that. But he came out there and showed us something completely different, man. He came out there and showed us that he belongs at this level. His hands were faster than I thought. Boxed a little bit better in combination than I thought. One of the things that I was knocking about him going into the fight is that he doesn't have very fast feet, which means that he overextends on his punches sometimes to get to the places that he want to get. If his feet doesn't get him there, you got to reach with your shots. Thought that was going to just put him in a nasty position for Teofimo Lopez to catch him with a counter right hand and take his head off. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. Found out a way to make it all work. And I'll also throw one other thing in there. Teofimo Lopez caught him with plenty of shots, man. Particularly in that first round, I want to say he caught him with like 4 or 5 clean right hands. By like the third or the fourth round, he was catching him with some good counter shots and everything clean. Man, Kambosos has a chin. That dude is not going anywhere. He's going to be around. Now, Devin Haney doesn't have pillow fists. I'm not out here accusing him of being one of these guys that can't break an egg, but he doesn't have the power of Lopez. He cannot punch like Teofimo Lopez, not even close. So if Lopez wasn't able to get him out of there, I've got every reason to believe that Haney's not going to be able to get him out of there, which means he's going to have to box him over the course of 12 rounds. Now, can he do it? Sure. Won his last 3 fights by decision, boxing over the course of 12 rounds. He can absolutely do it. But he got caught in his last 2 fights too. Got dragged into a dogfight at certain portions of the fight with Jojo Diaz. Not for the whole fight, not even close, not even the majority of it. But there were certain little portions where Jojo was able to go in there and enforce his will and get Haney into a fight he didn't want to get in. What's going to happen when George Kambosos does that? Right? I saw the press conference going into this one, the very first one, just a couple days ago. Haney mentioned something in there that I found interesting. He said, whatever it is that you do, he didn't want to say specifically what it was, but he said, whatever it is that Kambosos does best, whatever it is that he uses, I'm going to take that away from him. And I thought about that. And that's a beautiful thought. That's really what you want to do, right? That's what Floyd Mayweather used to do. The majority of the time, all he'd have to do is take away a guy's jab. Because believe it or not, that's what that's how everybody builds their game. It's what you're taught from day one. So Floyd would go in there, he'd take away the jab, kind of just immediately disarms a guy and throws his game away for a large portion if he can't build off of that jab. It's such a fundamental punch. So Haney comes in and says, I want to take away what he does best. That sounds great. But what is it that Kambosos does best? What is it that you're going to take away? Because if I'm looking at his last fight, what he did best was his timing. I mean, yeah, we could talk about the overhand right. We could talk about the check left hooks. We can talk about, the geography of the way that he fought off the back foot and managing the distance and this and that. And all those things are true. But really, it was about the timing. Once he had the timing, everything else built off of that. Now, is Devin Haney going to be able to take away Kambosos' timing? Actually, I doubt it. I don't think he's going to be able to. Because the way that you take away a guy's timing is by messing up his timing with your rhythm. Constantly changing up your rhythm, changing up the speed of your shots, changing up the location of them, changing up how and when you're using your feints, changing up the distance that you're using, because everything you're doing is trying to confuse the information that he's getting and the information that he's processing from you to attempt to get your rhythm and your timing. You're constantly feeding him misdirection and false information, and you're using all these feints and these head moves. Everything is just to throw him off. Can you do it? Sure. I mean, guys do it a lot, right? But you got to really be a master boxer. I just don't think that Devin Haney is quite at that level yet. He's only 23 years old. He'll be there one day if he continues down this path, because the man has incredible potential. Love what I see from him. Can't wait to see what he's going to be like when he's 28, 29 years old. Right? I think it's going to be great. But at times right now, he can get a little bit repetitive in his movements. He can get a little bit repetitive in the patterns and what he does. And now you're talking about trying to throw off a guy who wants to build his game off of timing. A guy who was just able to go out there and get the timing and the rhythm of Teofimo Lopez. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to do that. Just like it's going to be tough for Kambosos to deal with that jab and that hand speed. Right? Both of these men got challenges in front of them that they're going to have to defeat from their opponent to go out there and get the win. And that's really why I'm looking forward to it so much, right? Because when I think about how these styles match up and how these styles make fights, it could come out and it could just be a great chess match. It could come out and one man's able to enforce his will on the other right away, right? Particularly when you think about Haney with the athletic gifts that he possesses. So really looking forward to it, really looking to getting a little bit more down and breaking down the film as this fight gets a little bit closer and seeing what we got in store for us. So let me know what you guys think. Are you as excited about this one as I am? Do you think Haney's going to be able to run away with it as the younger, faster guy with the jab? Or do you think Kambosos is going to be able to figure that out and that Haney's going to have to make adjustments during the fight if he wants to stay on top? Let me know what you guys think.